Good morning. It's Friday, April 7th, and this is week 15 of Documented Faith. So happy Documented Faith Friday. I am in the kitchen because it's a little chilly outside for California. It's in the 50s, so that's chilly. And so I thought I'd sit at the kitchen table, but really because I have all of my junk in front of me, so I just thought I'd sit here and have some coffee with you. So let's address the elephant in the room, and that's this gigantic Band-Aid on my forehead, and there's also one up here. I had some moles removed yesterday, whack-a-mole, and it's not uncommon for me. So about every year I get 2 or more taken off, and then I have to go in for other things, and so that's what it is. Let's see. So thank you all so much for your comments last week on my video. As I said, I'll be talking more about that in the future. And I appreciate all of the texts and the comments and the emails. Truth is, I have been dealing with all of this since about the age of 9, 10, 11, 12. I had stated to someone that I started taking medication when I was 12, and really after talking to my mom, we figured out I was pretty close to 17 or 18. So, and since I'm 29 now, it hasn't been that long. Just kidding. I'm almost 39. So, just kidding. Never mind. So anyways, I've been taking medication for a long time. The medication that I'm taking now, along with my hysterectomy from last year, and then going into full-blown menopause, and hormone imbalance, I'm just a circus inside my head. So, I'm going to start the process of weaning off of one to go on another, and the one that I have to wean off of is not so fun, and I'm haven't taken the steps that I needed to take to start that process, because I have some big projects going on, and I guess there's no good time to do it, right? Just do it. So anyway, that's that. Okay, so let's get to Documented Faith. This week's verse comes from Ephesians, and it is from Ephesians 2, verse 10. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Okay, so when I was talking last week about how I document my faith, so if I took that verse, I would read that verse, and then I have my big honkin' study Bible, and then I would go to Ephesians 2, and here's what it says in the study Bible. Okay, we are God's workmanship, and then in parentheses it says work of art, create, get it, create, that's our word for the month. Masterpiece. Our salvation is something only God can do. It is his powerful creative work in us. If God considers us his works of art, we dare not treat ourselves or others with disrespect or as inferior work. So that is where I then consider that, and then maybe consider what I'm going to put in either my journaling Bible or in my Documented Faith binder, or on anything that I'm working on. Okay, so with that verse in mind, that brings me to the Artisan Soul, that the book that I always reference, and I'm reading it again, and I'm going to put a link on my blog, because really I'm thinking we should have some type of book club. This is such an amazing book. I took the cover off because I always end up messing it up, but it is exactly about this verse and how we can apply it to all that we were created to do. So this week I had put on one of my pages and this is from, so if you have the book, The Artisan Soul, on page 130, this is one of the areas that I had highlighted. If God created us to be successful at something, then he has called us to work hard at it. So I wrote that, and then my light bulb was, and I wrote it down, I was created to create. We were all created to create. We just all create differently. And some people get mixed up with being creative as using a paintbrush or using a pen or a pencil or a sewing machine, or having something to do with making something from paper, paint, fabric. But really across the board, we are being creative with our lives and with the things we do and our families. And so we were created to create, period. We don't have to use a paintbrush or a sewing machine or a needle and thread or, you know, to make an art project. So that is how I document my faith. So in other news, the binders are on their way to my house as we speak. So I will be putting them in boxes and sending them off to you. I got my set of dividers that go into, or come with the binder, I should say. The binder, when you order it, it will come to you with the binder, with the blank pages inside, and then a set of dividers, which in the planner world are called dashboards, but you know, I don't know why they're called dashboards. So I'm going to show you the blanks. And here's the thing, it doesn't have the months on it this year. It has words, so that if you are working on something, or you come across a quote, or you come across a verse, or something's going on and you want to put it under, or it's based on a topic of, let's say, love, then you can go to your love tab and you can place it in your binder in that way. We're still doing the months, as far as there's a certain word that I've assigned to each month, but this kind of frees it up so you can't, well, I'm going to say you can't use the excuse, but you can't say, oh, I'm already behind because January was moving, it's April, and so I'm too late, I can't start now. There's no right or wrong, well, there's no right or wrong way to do it, and there's no specific start date. You start when you start, you stop when you stop. This way it allows you to put things in different areas at different times, and it doesn't have to stay consecutive. So for instance, here's my the green one I posted. It's choose. So anything or any situation, like, so for instance, choose. I'm choosing my daily 5, and this is a picture of my blender with my smoothie because I'm choosing to eat well. So I put it there. I can put a date on it. It doesn't matter whether it was in February or it's in November. I am choosing to do that, and I'm going to put it under the choose tab, just like create. So here's this month. And yes, it's in pink and red, right? I was just practicing my colors. But my point is that when you're doing something or working on something, or if you have sermon notes, or you have, like I said, quotes, or anything you work on, you can put it under this create tab, and it doesn't just have to be for the month of April. So here's the create divider. I was going to call it dashboard. Here's how it comes, and here's how I colored it, and then I will keep going. So here's grow, and here's the grow color that I used. I just kind of stayed in the rainbows, and then I got all out of order. So I'm just going to show you each one of them and talk to you more a little bit about the binder. So this is one of them. They are on watercolor paper. They already have holes in them. They have tabs that have words. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm probably going to cut some of mine off and just have them as in my book. I don't know yet. I don't know. When I've been coloring them, I'm going to laminate them because I go in and out of my binder so much that they start to curl up, or they get marred up, and I travel around with it so much that it's easier if I just laminate them. And the laminator I have is a 3M laminator. I got it at Target. They have them at Target. I think they're like 20 bucks. They also have them at Walmart, and then they just have the sheets. You just slide them in and put it through the laminator and it's done. And then you just trim around it and punch the holes. All right, so here is Move. Here is Love. I haven't colored that one yet. Here is Choose, all the little circles. Create. This one's Trust. I'm working on this one right now. It's not my favorite, even though I drew it. I know that sounds ridiculous. Here's how I'm coloring it. I think because there's so many little things going on that I don't know. I just overwhelm myself with what colors do I use. So I'm just gonna keep going. Here is, what's this? Grow. This one is Practice. I like this one. It actually was inspired by one of my stitching projects. I just drew out what I stitched. It was kind of fun. Share. Oops, nope, this one's Believe. It has all the little flower icons and circles. Share with all the light bulbs. Super cute. Dream, which are hearts. And then Become, which are stars. So those are the dividers that come in. If you order the binder, no pressure, then it comes with all of your empty pages and then the dividers. So there's a link on my Instagram to my Etsy. There is going to be a link to my site via my blog, and then also on this week's email, and they start shipping out next week. There are more products that go with it, but they're not done yet. So we're just gonna work like I'm working, and that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so then one of the questions from a couple weeks ago that I was supposed to answer on the first Facebook Live that I didn't do, and then when I did do it, you know how that happened. So the question is from, I hope I say this name right, Cameo Yeater Sosha. How did you get started with knowing that your creating could become a business? I didn't. In fact, for most of my life, I didn't want to do it as a business because I told myself if I had to do it, then I wouldn't want to do it. So I worked, well, right out of high school, I was in beauty school, and then I became a beauty school dropout. And then I went back, and then I dropped out of that again. I took art classes. I took nothing, no academic classes. They were all art classes and drawing classes, and college just didn't work for me, and I didn't stick with it. And so I worked an office job for a long time, and then when I got married and we moved out to where we are now, then I got a different office job, and long story short was it didn't become, I shouldn't say it didn't become my business, but it was more of a craft business on the side from my normal 9-to-5 job. And it's not that I took advantage of no, that's not even the right way to say it. I just really, why is the little thing blinking? I guess it's just always been blinking. I've shared this story many times. It wasn't until I was going into a divorce that I quit my office job and really took a leap of faith and just said, I'm going to do what I have to do with what I have to be able to raise my boys and not put them in daycare and do what I need to do. and I used all my skills and talents and I gathered them all up. And for a long time I overdid it because I exhausted every effort to do what needed to be done. So I was making cakes, I was cleaning houses, I was catering parties on the weekends, I was not hosting, I was serving at parties during the weekends. I was doing all kinds of things just to keep myself afloat, and to raise my boys out of not having to take them to daycare. So it's been a long road, and it didn't happen overnight. It's taken a lifetime to get here. It's still evolving. It's still growing. I at least know now with confidence that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or what I was made to do. And that's why I wrote that. I was created to create. Identifying with that then helped me to stay focused on that it is a business. But that gets difficult too, because when you do what you love, then it's not really work. But when you think about it, it is work and it is a business. And then you get into the whole financial part of it, and that is hard and messy. And you would really just, I know for people that do what I do, and it comes naturally, you'd rather just do it and give it away. It's just easier to do it that way. And but it is a business, and so it gets a little difficult, and that's where I'm not going to say fail, but I wobble with the financial part. It's hard for me to charge people to do things that come so naturally or easy for me. And that's why I'm so passionate about teaching people to do it, because I know that if you try, if you just hold the pencil, or you hold the pen, or you hold the paintbrush, or you hold the needle, I can show you simple ways to create what I'm creating without all the theory. The theory is the part that knocked me down, whether it was beauty school or life drawing or any kind of class. When you start talking theory or measurements, or rules, not that I'm not a rule follower, because I'm a super rule follower, but when it comes to creative stuff, I need the flexibility, and I need to have options, and I don't want perfection. Well, there's not going to be perfection. So anyway, to answer your question, I didn't know, let me read the question again. How did you get started with knowing that you're creating? Okay, so I didn't know that it could become a business. People told me that, but I just built a wall in front of me. I'm so good at building walls. I should be a masonry contractor, wall builder. Because I just said if I had to do it, I wouldn't want to do it. And I told myself that for years. And really, it was right in front of me, and all I had to do was do it. And maybe it was a way of protecting myself, but I'm doing it. It's easy because it comes naturally, and it's hard because it comes naturally, and my brain does not shut off. And that's part of the balance I'm fighting right now, with trying to relax, trying to work on self-care, trying to focus on staying focused when I'm thinking in my head, I gotta get this done, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. You don't gotta do it all. Yay. Hip hip hooray. So once you can say that, then you got to start practicing it. And that's why I document my faith. That's how it all started. And that was one of the other questions, was what drives you to do documented faith? And that's because it came from a need for me to document all of these things, and I'm so glad I did. I'm working on a very big project right now, and when I looked back at all of my, even from the past 5 years, looking back, no, it goes back farther than that, tracking my life and my faith and my prayers and what's going on, or what was going on, or wow, I'm so glad that I have all those notes and references and dates, so that I can be reminded that, wow, this is really good. This is really working. It is all true, and I just have to keep focused on that, even in the times when I'm looking for a shell to hide under. So anyway, I think that's about it for today. So I'm gonna give you last week I told you about the book, Lisa Turkhurst, Becoming More Than a Good Bible Study Girl. This is my favorite book too. I'm thinking we should read this together. Lots of highlights in this book as well. So I'll put the link to this book, to The Artisan Soul, to the binder, and anything else I can think of. Have a great weekend. Wear sunscreen, duh. Just because you have dark hair, olive skin, and dark eyes does not mean you're exempt from skin cancer. So take good care of yourself. Daily 5, eat, sleep, pray, create, move. Any combination, but daily 5 things. Drink lots of water. Being the boss of you right now. Oh, it's outside, but my super bloom is happening, and I picked a bunch of flowers this morning and I put them in a mason jar and I took a picture, and it's on Instagram. I felt like I was probably Martha Stewart, because I picked all these flowers from my garden that I grew, and there was even some bugs not on the wildflowers. There's no bugs on the wildflowers, but there's little aphids on the roses. But I cut them all, I rinsed them off, I put them in my jar, and I felt like I could have had a cable show or something, like a home and garden show, because I was so proud. But I didn't really do anything. I watered them, but anyway, it's the little things, right? So anyway, have a good weekend. I guess that's it. All right. See you next week.